Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Kelvin here. As you can see, we have a very special guest today. He's Jacky Yap. He's a co-founder of multiple companies, Gravity Media and Chain Debrief. Welcome to the channel.
Hey, hello sir. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Yeah, so can you share a bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Jacky. I started Gravity Media and Chain Debrief. Gravity Media, we have a couple of media brands such as Vulcan Post, Millennial Singapore, Daily Catch Up as well. And then Chain Debrief is a crypto company that we started about a year ago. We want to be the go-to platform for all things crypto. So we do like editorial content, video content, we have podcasts, and a wide range of products that we do under Chain Debrief as well. Yeah.
So what's your Chain Debrief latest projects?
Okay, yeah. So for Chain Debrief, I mean, the reason why we started was also because when we first started in the world of crypto, right, there was no one central platform for crypto resources
In Singapore.
In Singapore lah.
Right.
Yeah. So then like when we first start, right, then like we don't know what crypto projects should we look at, and then like what are the latest development in the space. Hence we started that to fix our own problem lah. So right now we're just focusing on producing all articles. We do research reports as well. Some of the other stuff that we have for Chain Debrief, right, is we also have a learn and earn module. So what we do is basically you come to our website. We have a module which is called Nexus. So it's at chaindebrief.com/nexus. You come and then you learn about crypto and then you get rewarded for it.
Right.
So almost like a Web3 Coursera. So that's something that we're focusing a lot on. You can learn about Polygon right now. You can learn about Ethereum right now, and then you get rewarded on the Matic token and ETH stuff that as you complete the courses lah. So that's under Chain Debrief. We're also the co-organizers of MetaJam. MetaJam is a 3-month NFT festival and exhibition in Singapore. It's actually in May, June and July. So we're at almost the last leg of it already. At the end of July, we have a MetaJam Summit, Web3 Summit, which we gather all the different crypto players, speakers. We're flying in speakers as well for the event to basically talk about all things crypto lah. So if you're interested to find out more about it, it's at metajam.asia/summit.
So can you share a bit more about how you get started in crypto?
Okay, yeah, I think with a lot of people, my story is almost the same. So like, I started back in 2017, 2018. That's when I bought my first Bitcoin and Ether. That was the last cycle, right? And then I bought it through CoinHako, as with a lot of other companies, because back then there was no other exchanges, only CoinHako, right? And then after that, I bought it, and then I made some money, but I never sold, and then it crashed all the way, right? And then I left it there. And then that was the end of the cycle, last cycle, and then that was in 2018, 2019. And then in 2021, I started to get familiarized myself with crypto again. I think at that point, I was looking at content and verticals that are interesting and blowing up, right? And Web3 and crypto was something that was blowing up at that point. There was more project coming out. It was a DeFi summer, and a lot of like talents are moving into the space. Singapore through MAS and Temasek as well are investing very heavily into the space as well.
Serious?
Temasek lah, right? They're investing a lot like crypto companies, right? Exchanges, right? And then I was like, oh, okay, this is something that is worth looking into. As I dug deeper, and then I'm like, wow, there's so many things that's happening. And hence, then I started to learn more about, all the different blockchains, the layer 1s, layer 2s, NFT projects, and then I got stuck into the whole rabbit hole, and then that's how I started again in late 2020, early 2021.
I think that was a good time for everyone. Like crypto at the time was shooting up like crazy.
Yeah,
right?
It was ridiculous. Yeah, it was showing up every other day. Yeah.
But it went back down.
It went back down. Yes.
Over these few years of journey, what's the biggest lesson that you have learned so far?
Oh wow! I cannot really say like I have a lot of experience investing in crypto per se, but I mean for me personally, I think just a bit of my background of my personal finance journey, right? I started off in Singapore REIT.
Right.
Right, because of the whole you know, a dividend strategy and, you know, FI thing, right? And after that, this was in 2019, 2018, so REIT, right? And after that, I rotated into tech stocks and equities, right?
Dividend stocks are too boring.
Dividend stocks are too boring, exactly. Yeah, but now it's the safest, right? So,
Right, the safest.
yeah. So then, at that point, you know, ARK Invest, Katie Wood was the celebrity, right? And I got caught into it also. And then did all the research. I'm like, wow, I buy everything, raw stock, let's go. So then I moved my whole portfolio from REIT to tech stock, tech equities, right? And then after that, I found crypto. Like, wow, even more exciting, let's go. Like, what is 20% in a year, right? If I can get 20% a month, right? And I'm like, let's move everything. So like, you know, so that's my last journey, my personal finance journey over the last 4 or 5 years. Based on that, right, I would say my learning is basically, I think, I was very fixated on the idea that I should hold and not sell. Right? So, like, because to me, I always fixate myself on like the case study of like Amazon, right? If you can buy last time when it was a drawdown at like 80%, right? Any time would have been a good time to buy if you held for another like 20 years, right? So I'm always at that point of that idea. I never wanted to optimize my portfolio. I just want to buy and hold. Maybe I'm also lazy, right? But if I could, if you answer your question, right, what did I learn? Biggest learning, right, I think is rotating into new asset classes or even cash can be a good thing also. I think that's something that really struck out to me, like over the last, especially this drawdown lah. I think that's the biggest lesson. No?
So I think it's more like you have to follow the trend. But obviously, if you are still bullish, then you can still hold lah.
Correct. So I think in terms of like, what's your time frame? I think you need to be very clear on that. I think even within crypto, rotation is also quite important. Like in terms of the very, very high risk one, rotating to the more stable ones. It's also you know, something that I really took a big hit on lah. Yeah.
In a recent podcast in May, you mentioned that your portfolio is in 90% crypto.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Well, I mean, I didn't plan for it to happen that way, but it was just because crypto at that stage was going up every other day. So then the rise in portfolio value wasn't because I was buying in a lot, but it was more of like stuff that I bought DC8 over the previous months, right, went up by a lot, and it became a very, very big part of my portfolio. At one point, it was like 80%. So I think that's that lah.
Do you have an initial target allocation? Like for me, it's at most like 10%.
Oh, I didn't have. I was all in crypto. Like, I mean, that's something that I basically also learned a lot, right? Like, because my career is sort of like mostly revolving around crypto right now. I think someone I met recently told me also, he said like, if you should diversify your investment away from your career. Yeah, because my career, I'm trying to build Chain Debrief, right? I'm building Chain Debrief right now, which is like 100% in crypto. And then my personal portfolio is also almost 100% in crypto. Right? So actually, even in that sense of like diversification, I also didn't have it. Right? To answer your question, I don't have a initial allocation. I was optimizing for returns. Right?
All of us are.
All of us are, right? Because we're all greedy. I am greedy, right? I'm like, wow. So I didn't have initial allocation. Yeah.
Then in December, you shared on Chain Debrief, you show all your entire crypto portfolio.
Yes.
And all of them are altcoins.
Yes.
And I think one of them, the biggest one, is in UST, which went down.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
So like, all of them are already down like 90%.
Yes.
My question is, are you still bullish on those cryptos that you have bought?
Majority of it, the thesis is still the same.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, I mean, if you look at the way, like how we always tell people at Chain Debrief, right, is that we look at crypto and we study them, or I like to look at them as how I would look at a tech stock. So the reason why you would look at Ethereum is the same reason you should look at PayPal, for example. Both facilitate payments, both have merchants, both have transaction volumes, both have growing users, right? And both has revenue. Okay, really, but yes, both has revenue. Okay. And one is centralized, one is decentralized. As simple as that. So the way I frame it, right, the way I look at crypto, right, is that you should only buy crypto, or for me, I buy cryptos that behind there's a fundamental, it solves a problem.
Right.
Like Ethereum obviously is a payment network, for example. There are some other blockchains, layer ones, that facilitate payments as well. They are, for example, in my other podcast, right, I mentioned about gaming, for example. If you play games, so there's a Web3 Steam, which is called Ultra.
Okay.
The same thing, they do the same thing, but one is powered by blockchain. So then, if you understand the economics behind it, then the way you look at buying a gaming company stock, right, and the way you look at crypto, right, should be the same. That's how I look at it. So to answer your question, my thesis is still the same. It's just that the market is not reflecting the price right now because of the whole sentiments, interest rate lah, all this little stuff, right? So my thesis is still depending on which crypto that you mentioned about, but most of them doesn't change because they didn't change their business over the last 3 months, ma.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. So that's that lah.
Quick pause. I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Webull. Webull is a new stockbroker that lets you trade stocks for a low fee of $0. They also have fractional shares, which lets you buy stock with even just $5 hongbao money. Right now, Webull has upgraded their latest sign-up promotion. If you sign up, deposit at least $2,000, then make 6 buy trades on either US stocks, ETFs, or options, you will receive up to $120 worth of Microsoft shares. This promotion ends on August 1st. So if you are interested, you can sign up with my link down below. With that being said, let's get back to the video. So like you have bought obviously a lot of cryptos, right? But if you can if you can only choose one crypto, like you put all your life savings into it, which would it be?
This is non-financial advice, obviously. But today, knowing what I know, ETH lor.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I have to choose two, Bitcoin and Ether.
Okay.
It's a very boomer coin. Like I would laugh at my answer 3 months ago. Jacky would laugh at the Jacky today for saying that, because in my past podcast, right, I say I will never buy Bitcoin and Ether. But now I'm like, okay, what did I learn, right? Like if I talk to OGs in the space, those that had survived the bear market last time, they always say, in the bull run, you buy altcoins because you want to you want to trade it, eventually exchange it to Bitcoin and Ether. I never understood that.
Okay.
But I understood it now. Like, oh, I see. Okay, because there's a market cycle, right? And then market go up, and then the alts will chong even more lah. That was my thesis, right? Because I'm optimizing for return, right? And then when it goes down, the rest will draw down 90%, but Bitcoin and Ether will at most draw down lesser lah.
Correct.
Right? So you buy alts because you want to buy more Bitcoin and Ether. And I'm like, okay, now I get it. Okay. So to answer your question, if I have most of my life saving right now, I would buy BTC and ETH lor.
So for me, right, the thing that I see is that people are very optimistic about that ETH 2.0 coming because of that proof of work or whatever.
Yeah.
But when I research into it, it seems like this proof of work thing may not solve the problem, which is the high transaction cost.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So like, does it give other altcoins opportunity to be the Ethereum killer or whatever? Are you worried about that?
Not really though. Right. It depends. So for the longest time, there are a lot of like coins that claim they launch because they want to be ETH killer lah. So there's like Solana, there's like Terra also, there's like Matic and BNB, all the other different chains that all basically they want to be ETH killer lah. I would say ETH will, for now, as of today, ETH has still the highest number of like applications on it, highest number of developers, highest number of like transactions on it. ETH 2.0, actually, I'm not very optimistic about it. They launched already, yes, they improved. I don't think it's like a huge improvement. I think it's a marginal improvement only because, but for now, right, every second, the amount of like transaction that ETH can process is only about 10 to 15 only. But the demand for transaction per second on the ETH network, right, is actually in the tens of thousands. So even if you roll out ETH 2.0, from the 10 to 10 transactions per second, right? Maybe it will, even if double it or triple it, right, to 30 transactions per second, right? The demand for each transaction per second is in the tens of thousands, so it doesn't move the needle. So no matter what, which is why I think a lot of like companies projects are trying to launch layer 2s to solve the scaling problem. So you have your Polygon is one, you have your Arbitrum, you have your Optimism, all this kind of stuff are all basically trying to solve this for Ethereum. So Ethereum is like the base.
Correct.
So to answer the question, I'm not very worried, nor am I optimistic about it, because it doesn't do anything, doesn't change the narrative, or doesn't fix any problem lah. Yeah.
So in one of the session with the daily catch up, you mentioned that you believe in crypto because crypto, there's a lot of smart money coming in, and crypto is being used to solve real world problems.
Yes.
As a programmer, I have the same view.
Okay.
But my problem with crypto is that it's too volatile. Like Bitcoin last year was what, 60K, and now it's below 20K now.
Sure.
And that's just the safest crypto already. The rest have dropped like 90% in these past few months. So like, how do you actually value crypto? Do you know like Bitcoin should be worth this amount right now? Like, how do you value it?
Actually, the valuation of cryptos right now, there's a lot of like people that has different trains of thoughts for it. I don't think there is a widely accepted, I mean, if you want to talk about valuation method, then there's like the what's that thing? The flow. Yeah, that thing, the model thing, right? But then people say like, oh, maybe this cycle it will not hold that. The model will not hold anymore. So actually, I don't know. I don't know the answer to your question, because I feel like we're still very early in terms of like developing a model to value crypto. Right now, it's pure supply and demand. Like the higher there's more hype for there's more capital coming in, then you see the price go up. I think it's as simple as that. But I mean, for us, how we look at it is that when we compare different, let's say layer 1s, right? Let's say we compare Solana and then Terra did already, and then Cosmos and let's say BNB, for example. We look at what we call the TVL, which is total value locked, or basically how much money are there in the Solana ecosystem, in the ETH ecosystem. We use that divide by the market cap, then you get a TVL over MC. Then you compare how much each in reference to everyone else. So that way we will know whether one protocol is overvalued or undervalued as compared to ETH, for example. I think that's something that we always try to educate our audience on Chain Debrief as well. Even for myself, like at one point, you know, I knew that Solana was too overvalued already, because there's only, the TVL is very, very low, but the MCAP is so high. I just cannot buy Solana because it's so overvalued based on that.
But using this equation, for like, let's say for Luna, it wouldn't make sense, right? Like we seen that it can easily crash within just a few days.
Correct. So for since you brought up about Luna, right? Solana and Luna at that stage, they were like top 10, right? But the TVL for Luna at that stage was going up by a lot because people were putting money into Anchor Protocol, which count as a TVL, right? Hence, the TVL over MCAP is actually much lower for Luna. Hence, from a numbers perspective, it makes much more sense for you to buy Luna than for you to buy Solana. That's from a numbers perspective. But from a design perspective, the tokenomic design perspective, right? Luna one was pure
pump up by USD.
Hence, the whole design of the whole crypto will GG. But Solana, the design is not by pegging and depegging, so it's okay as a blockchain. Hence, you have to see, I mean, there's a lot of factors, right? So, but apple to apple, right? If you look at the way we look at the TBL over MCAT, right? I think that's a very basic approach to see whether one is, how do you value whether one is overvalued or undervalued.
Yeah, so personally for me, how I would value it is that I see at what price the whales bought that. Like for example, Bitcoin, like Elon Musk, they were buying around $10,000+.
Yeah, nice.
So if crypto were to fall below that, chances are people will be willing to pick up around that price.
Probably.
So that's my uneducated guess of how
correct
value.
Hence, it goes back to what I mentioned. There's a willing buyer, willing seller. What's the price right now? Demand and supply. That's the more feeling, unofficial valuation way. But I mean, if you're into like technical valuation, it's more of those numbers lah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So like, let's say I'm new to crypto, which I am. What data points should I look up for? Like, how do I know whether this is a good crypto?
Wow. Okay. So as I mentioned just now, right? I think look at crypto with like use cases.
Okay.
So there's a saying why people are into Web3 right now is because Web3 provides a new way of like disrupt Web2 businesses. So Ethereum, for example, the one that I mentioned, it could disrupt PayPal, for example. So the way you look at it should be the same lens as you look at PayPal or DBS even, for example. And then what I mentioned just now, the gaming one, Ultra and Steam, for example, right? Actually, they are like data storage companies. So like Google, for example, they have Google Cloud, right? Or Dropbox, for example, right? In the Web3 version, right, there are also similar companies. Filecoin and then Arweave, for example, which I'm very bullish on. They do the same thing, file sharing, and they earn a fee, a very small fee, small fraction only, and they try to make it up by scale, right? So you need to understand like the business model behind all these cryptos that you buy, lor. And I think that's what I would advise, I guess. Other than that, it's just basically, I think as much as fundamentals go, you understand the business model behind the crypto, right? You also need to see whether are people building on it, the developers activity on it, are there any new applications that are using on this, Web3 projects? Are people talking about it on Twitter? I think that's something that is, because crypto is sort of like a mini echo chamber as well. So you need to see how much chatters are there and activities are there. Even if a company have very strong business model and fundamentals, right? If there are no network effect or chatters, right? Also like a bit GG lah.
Let me just bring up one example, Cardano.
Oh,
Cardano, there's a lot of developments behind.
Sure.
There's a community behind.
Yes.
It's even the top crypto.
Yes.
There are a group of people who thinks that Cardano, like you, why do you feel that this Cardano may not be such a good crypto in that case?
Sure. So again, business model. So Cardano, when they launched, right, they want to be the Ethereum killer. Right?
Wait, no. From what I researched, they are more like they want to coexist with Ethereum.
Sure. So not really Ethereum killer. Basically, they are layer one lah. Okay. So like Ethereum like that and like Solana like that. For Cardano, when they launch, right, if you look at the number of apps, okay, I never tracked Cardano for the last 3 months already, but as of early this year, right, there were no applications that were building on Cardano, but the valuation is ridiculous. It's hundreds of billions. I can't remember what's the valuation, right? They had no TVA at all, meaning it was a chain that had no applications building on it, and there was no money flowing, crypto flowing in. So there was no TVL. So based on TVL over MCAP, right, it's just ridiculous amount. Like the premise of Cardano was that I'm going to build a blockchain and other applications can build on it, and then they're going to be cheaper and whatnot. Then the question then is, why are no applications on it yet, despite being launched for 2-3 years already? The second thing is that when they announced that their blockchain was available, and then there was applications that started to launch on it, which is a decentralized exchange lah. When they launched, right, the whole blockchain cannot be used. They were copying also. Like people can't even do a basic swap on the chain. So the blockchain is not very usable then. Then I'm like, no guys, they just no.
So I think like the argument for that is Cardano is still in development. So maybe it's just hard to see the potential of Cardano for now.
Yes. At their development, that's fine also, but the valuation is ridiculous.
So the valuation is more like, it's like Tesla lah. People are very
it's
optimistic.
way more than Tesla. Even if you move the whole Ethereum ecosystem over to them, right? Like it's just, the valuation is just ridiculous. So I can't buy it even. Knowing that the chain is not usable at all. And like you say earlier, right, that how much are people paying to buy Bitcoin, right? The same thing goes with Cardano. If you look at Cardano's whole token, right, 100% of the token is owned by community. Meaning there are no investors, there are no whatever. If I don't remember wrongly, I read somewhere that 100% of their tokens are actually bought by community, which means YouTubers or like influencers or Twitter guys. Hence, they will pump it.
Right. So the marketing is very good here.
Correct. Hence, the market price went up. So that's why retail people will always say buy Cardano. Yeah. But then if you look at whether other applications, use cases on it, now don't have.
Okay.
Hence, that's my gripe with Kata.
Right. Yeah, I think everyone has their own opinion.
Opinions, yes,
Right,
for
so
sure, for
you
sure.
still have to do your own due diligence.
Do your own due diligence. But my due diligence for that was that it was just too expensive and it's not usable lah.
What is NFT to you? Like, does it actually have a real use case other than just like a cash grab? Like, let me just use your Chain Debrief example.
Sure.
Very recently, Chain Debrief launched Enlighten Rest with the highest one price at 1 ETH. 1 ETH is around 1.1k USD, I think. So does owning this 1.1k NFT, right, actually gives me something that's worth 1.1k. NFT is worth this amount. People are paying it for it, but are they getting the same value in return?
Sure. I mean, the way we look at NFT, right, is that it's one is for our community. When we launched our NFT collection, right, it was more of how do we identify our core group of supporters and then reward them for being part of our early supporters and accrue value to them as much as possible. Hence, we launched an NFT collection and then we have our own like tribe lah, right? Okay. How we're doing our NFT is that is via token gated access to our NFT holders. Meaning, for Chain Debrief, we launched a couple of products. What I mentioned earlier is basically Nexus, right? Learn and earn, right? For our NFT holders, they will get priority access to our Learn and Earn. Meaning, because when we do our Learn and Earn Nexus, right, we have limited amount of slots. Okay. When we work with our partner protocols, like Matic or whoever lah, right? So we can guarantee the slots to our NFT holders. Right. So that's one. Second is that for let's say we also have events. All of our events, they will be given priority access to our NFT holders as well. And all of the products that will eventually launch in the future, all of them will be given to our NFT holders as well. So think of it as like a membership card. Correct.
Right. Like VIP.
Correct. When we launched it, right, it was at 0.08 ETH. At that point, was about $100 to $200. Right. So then our focus as a company, as a brand, right, is to how do we deliver as much value as possible. And we don't really look at, market's pricing us at 1 ETH, 2 ETH, 5 ETH. Obviously, we try to work towards that, but it is really up to the market demand and supply lah.
So then a follow-up question would be like, why not launch your own DAO, like own crypto, instead of like NFT? Like for crypto, you can use it to farm youth.
Sure, yeah. So I think that one is a more nuanced approach, because launching a DAO is not as straightforward as you seem. Like on paper, on theory, right, it looks great. Running a DAO is great, but in practical, right, I actually don't believe that we are there yet to run a DAO. Okay. Not we as in like the whole the community, right. Not our community, but crypto community as a whole. Right. If you look at DAOs, right, DAOs are essentially basically all the community members will vote, have a say in terms of like what's best and what not. You need to have a lot of processes and systems in place for a DAO to operate. Okay. There's no one DAO that has efficiently or effectively run itself that I know of right now. Right. You know, so I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So if you know any DAO that I should look at, please let us know. But from my understanding is that there's like no one strong DAO right now that is operating efficiently. As a brand, you still need to have some centralized organization to decide what's best and to trust that, you know, the team does the best for the whole organization or the whole group, right? It's very hard for us to structure a DAO that way. Okay. Yeah, that's one. Second is that why not launch a token? NFT to us is a token, and with our NFT, right, you can get access to all the stuff that we do. Right, yeah. So the way we look at it is NFT is our token, right?
For the final question, what are the future crypto trends that we can look at?
I wouldn't know, sir. Because okay, let me answer you that, right? Because in the 2020 and 2021 cycle, right, the bull, right, no one could have seen NFT. No one predicted NFT. No one predicted DeFi summer, which is the farming thing, right? No one predicted the play to earn, which is the Axie Infinity. No one. Right. So the same thing, the next cycle is going to come in with new innovative use cases. Right. And I don't know what's that. Okay. Right. But I do know that a lot of great teams, governments are investing in crypto and Web3 projects. There's so many use cases, right? Yeah, there's so many interesting teams that are coming out trying to bring, insurance are on chain right now, stocks are on chain right now, even financial aside, right? There's also like fashion NFTs as well, and then there's like gaming that's being disrupted, and then like shipping. There's some use cases in shipping also, but more e-commerce. A lot of e-commerce are also looking at Web3. Shopify also recently launched some stuff with NFT stuff also. So there's so many things that's happening. They're trying to bring retail into this space, but I actually don't know what's emerging.
But what about you? What are you looking at right now?
What am I looking at right now? I'm just trying to survive the market.
Wouldn't this crash be a good time to buy? Like
Yes.
Obviously it has dropped a lot, but when it recovers, it will easily go back a lot more.
Yes. So I'm looking to accumulate the basics one right now. So the basic one, the boomer coins they call it, the strong layer ones, and then because they say there's a rotation, right? So BTC ETH will go up first, and altcoins, and then all the other low cap coins, right? But I think for me, what I'm excited about is also looking at, again, companies or projects with real use cases. Like what I mentioned just now, the Steam one or like Arweave, which is like trying to like disrupt Google Cloud and Dropbox, all those. I think that's the reason why it excites me. Like, wow, you didn't know that this was possible. They made it possible.
Where do you look for all these? Like for me, the way I found all these projects is through YouTubers.
Yeah.
Like what about you?
Twitter. Twitter is the space. I think when you reach YouTube, then it's the mass already. Twitter is where all the alphas, but even in Twitter also like more public already. I think on Telegram groups, private groups, I think there are some faster way, but actually also I think Twitter is still the best way of information. Yeah.
Any last words that you want to share?
Yeah, so I think for me is, the reason why we were into the Web3 space, right, is because like, I truly believe that crypto is here to stay, or Web3 is here to stay.
Right.
Like if you look at what I mentioned earlier also, right, there's a lot of talent moving into space, and government, Singapore is actually investing a lot in Web3 also. Singapore, through Temasek, if you think about it, Singapore has no natural resources. So we must always, the only way we can survive as a country, small nation, right, is investing in growth and human resources, right? So over the last 1 or 2 years, right, if you look at Temasek, right, they have actually been investing tens of millions of dollars into Web3 projects. They cannot hold crypto, but they can hold equities in crypto companies, but exchanges. So like they invested in FTX, Binance or Solar. There's other blockchain research companies. They also invested in their Series C, Series D also. So Temasek for the longest time have also been investing. So I think the government should know something, right? All the financial institutions, DBS, all those, they are also into Web3 as well. So I think they are here to stay. And I think, right now it's a bit sian that everything's going down, but I really believe that, as with tech stocks, Amazon, Facebook were the bubble and then they burst, which would eventually bring a 10-20x return since 2000s, right? I think Web3 is going to be that vehicle for us, right? I think we should all, I feel like everyone should keep an open mind. And I think don't be too caught up in the whole meme coin thing and like buy what other people are buying. Try to understand more. I think that's also a reminder for me also, like sometimes you tend to chase what other people are chasing, like Luna, for example. I'm a huge Luna, I talk about it a lot, right? But I feel like go back to fundamentals and have an open mind, and like I think we should pay more attention to crypto lah. That aside, and then if I could also talk a little bit more about what we do at Chain Debrief, right? I think for us is we want to be the go-to resource for all things crypto. We position ourselves as like the help desk for the metaverse, right? So if you you want to have any questions you want to ask, you need to find out more information, you can come to our website to find all the resources. You can join our community, ask questions from the community, and yeah, I think that's all lah.
Thanks for the advice, Jacky. If you want to find out more about Chain Debrief, do check out their website, and they even have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
So, once again, thanks for joining this interview. With that being said, that's all for today. Bye.